Spitali. Here. Kalwinski. Here. Torres. Here. Hicks. Emerson. Here. Warple. Here. Rakels. Here. Vanez.
Here. Let the record reflect 8 present, 1 absent. Moving on to reading of minutes. God bless you. Reading of minutes?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
I move we accept the minutes as read
For January 9th?
for January 9th.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali, to accept the minutes of January 9th. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to approval of claims.
Madam Chair, Lady.
Councilman Markovich.
Move for approval of claims January 4th, 2017 through January 18, 2017 for council meeting January 23rd, 2017. Beginning with claims dated 1/12/17 and ending with claims dated 1/18/17, claim number 376 through claim number 690 for a total of $4,562,849.54. I so move.
I so second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Warple, to approve the claims of January 4th through January 18th. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali. Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres. Yes. Hicks. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes. Claims pass, 8 in favor, 1 absent. Moving on to public hearings, there are none. Communications. Communications. I guess we're missing Councilman Hicks tonight, aren't we? Communications is now closed. Committee reports, there are none. Ordinance third and final passage, there are none. Rolling right along. Introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 17-02, sponsored by Councilwoman Vanez. An ordinance to appropriate funds from the operating balance for the Hammond Park Department.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I move for first and second reading and to be put in the Finance Committee for a public hearing on February 27th at 5 p.m. Our Finance Committee meeting for February 27th at 5 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Kalwinski for first and second reading of 1702 with a public hearing on February 27th and a Finance Committee meeting on February 27th at 5 p.m. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second for 1702 is granted with a public hearing on 2/27 and a Finance Committee meeting on 2/27 at 5 p.m.
Item B, ordinance 17-03, sponsored by Councilwoman Vanez. An ordinance to appropriate funds in the hotel motel innkeeper's tax fund for the Hammond Park Department.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
first and second reading, Finance Committee, February 27th, 5 p.m. with a public hearing on February 27th. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Spitali for first and second reading of 1703 with a public hearing on 2/27 and a finance committee meeting on 2/27 at 5 p.m. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
the committee meeting time for this one is when?
5 p.m.
And the one previous was at,
5 p.m.
they're at the same time?
It's the same committee.
Okay,
We can discuss them both.
very good. Thank you.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? First and second is granted for 1703 with a public hearing on 2/27 and a finance committee meeting on 2/27 at 5 p.m. Moving on to 17-04.
Ordinance 17-04 sponsored by Councilwoman Venez. An ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the city of Hammond for zoning purposes and amending ordinance number 8514, an ordinance establishing a zoning plan for the city of Hammond, including the regulations and maps to administer the zoning plan in order to provide for orderly growth and development within the city, all in accordance with the comprehensive land use plan as amended for property commonly known as 6804 Columbia Avenue, 6822 Columbia Avenue, and 1134 Spruce Street.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Emerson.
I move for first and second reading of 17-04 with intent to consider on February 13th and the Building and Zoning Committee on February 9th at 3:30 p.m. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Warple for first and second reading of 1704 with a notice of intent to consider for February 13th and a Building and Zoning Committee meeting for February 9th at 3:30 p.m. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? 1704 passes on first and second reading with a notice of intent to consider for February 13th and a Building and Zoning Committee meeting on February 9th at 3:30 p.m. Okay, moving on to resolutions.
Item A, Resolution 17R03, a resolution sponsored by Councilman Rakos. A resolution confirming the reappointment of Gabriela Gallegos as a commissioner of the Hammond Human Relations Commission of the City of Hammond, Indiana.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman
move
Rakos.
pass resolution 17R03.
Do I
Second.
have a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Rakos, second by Councilman Warple for final passage of 17R03. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali. Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres. Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes. 17R03 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Resolution 17R04, sponsored by Councilwoman Venez. A resolution confirming the reappointment of Ann Herbert as a commissioner of the Hammond Human Relations Commission of the City of Hammond, Indiana.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
move the final passage of 17R04.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage of 1704. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
she has served for several terms.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Yes.
Vines.
17R04 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Resolution 17R02, sponsored by Councilman Rakels. A resolution confirming the reappointment of Alberto Ochoa as a commissioner of the Hammond Human Relations Commission of the City of Hammond, Indiana.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Rakos.
I move we pass 17R02.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh,
Second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 17R02. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 17R02 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Resolution 17R05, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski. A resolution reappointing Thomas J. Puplava to the Hammond Port Authority.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Kalwinski.
move for passage of 17R-05.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kalwinski, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 17R05. Any discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Puplava has served on the Port Authority for 2 terms and is here for a reappointment on a 3rd. All board members and director of the marina all hope for his reinstatement, and he has served the community and the Port Authority with integrity for the last several decades. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Yes.
Vines.
Let the record reflect 8 in favor, 1 absent, 17R05 passes.
President Vines, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to new and unfinished business. Any new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
move for final passage for intent to consider.
Second.
What?
On 1637? Is that, okay. Okay. Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Kalwinski for final passage of 1637 with the intent to consider this evening. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1637 passes, 8 in favor, 1 absent. Okay. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
last council meeting, I made some inappropriate remarks, referred to my colleagues, and I just sent a letter of apology, a personal letter of apology to each and every one of them. And in the future, I will refrain from using such language. And if I disagree with something, I will use more tactful and diplomatic language in doing so. And my apology is sincere. Once I talked to accepted it, so thank you and for the betterment of the city and the second district especially. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman.
I've also in the past have made some inappropriate remarks to our mayor. I have too much respect for him and the office, so in the future, again, I will refrain from using such language, and if I have anything to disagree on, I'll do it appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Torres. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Kalwinski.
I move to have a letter sent from myself to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management regarding a public comment pertaining to the hazardous waste remediation work plan by Faro Corporation, formerly Kyle Chemical Facility, at 3000 Sheffield Avenue. I'd like that sent out to IDEM, and I'd like that to be read by the clerk for record, please.
Do you have a copy of that, Clerk Golick?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kalwinski, second by Councilman Spitali, to have a letter sent to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management regarding Kyle Chemical, and for the record, Clerk Golick will read the letter.
The letter is sent to Mr. Robert Marshall, to IDEM regarding the public comment, RCRA hazardous waste remediation work plan regarding Faro Corporation, formerly Kyle Chemical Facility, located on 3000 Sheffield Avenue. Dear Mr. Marshall, as councilman of the 1st District of Hammond, Indiana, I have been actively involved in improving environmental quality in my district and the entire city. I am concerned over the contamination left by Faro Corporation at 3000 Sheffield Avenue, which is located in my district. I reviewed the Faro work plan to better understand how the remaining contamination would impact the environment in that area. I am concerned about residential or residual contamination in the soil and groundwater, and how it will impact city property, city utilities, water and sewer, and Wolf and George Lakes, which provide the city with numerous recreational opportunities. Dover Chemical currently operates a chemical plant at 3000 Sheffield Avenue in Hammond. I anticipate they will also file a public comment to the Faro work plan. However, I represent the citizens and businesses closest to the site. I want to make sure that decisions made by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management on the Faro work plan are based on current site and off-site information, and that the work plan is used to consider all possible adverse impacts so that the environmental decisions can be made now and in the future. The work plan submitted by Faro Corporation contains volumes of information that, for the layman, requires the assistance of technical experts to translate the terminology and interpret the graphs or maps. It would have been impossible for me to perform a review within the original 30 days allotted by IDEM. I appreciate IDEM granting an extension of time so that I could thoroughly review the work plan documents. I have the following comments on the Farrell work plan. 1. Much of the environmental data relied upon for the work plan is from 2013. In my review of other work plans, the environmental data was current, not years old. With the fluctuating groundwater conditions at the site due to the influences of Wolf Lake, George Lake, and Lake Michigan, any reliance on old soil and groundwater data, 2013, would be a serious error. A complete round of soil and groundwater sampling is needed to determine current site conditions prior to any consideration of approving a work plan. 2. The work plan addresses site condition, the actual footprint of the property. It indicates that contamination stops at the plant fence line. It is difficult for me to believe that soil and groundwater contamination for past operations could recognize above ground fence lines. I do not believe an extent of contamination plan has been completed as part of this work plan. IDEM must require a satisfactory extent of contamination plan for the Farrell work plan. 3. As part of my review, I spoke to persons familiar with the different ways contamination below grade can escape a site. I was advised there are preferential pathways that have been identified, such as water lines, sewer lines, utility corridors, sumps, and trenches. I could not find any such pathway evaluation in the Farrell work plan. I believe an evaluation of preferred pathways need to be included in the Farrell work plan. 4. The extent of contamination plan is needed to determine if city utilities adjacent to the plant have been impacted by site contamination. I am concerned that the joint seals on the main water line along Sheffield Avenue have been compromised by contamination from the site. Failure of a joint seal on that 60-inch main would be catastrophic in regards to supply and due to high groundwater table would spread contamination over the area. Site remediation would have changed from reviewing a work plan to an emergency response. The same consideration should be given to the sanitary and stormwater collection systems. Is there infiltration into one or both of these systems? Which are the Sheffield right-of-way? The time is now to require, in a revised Farrell work plan, an evaluation of utilities serving or operating adjacent to the plant site. I request that my comments be added to the record and incorporated as requirements to a revised Farrell Corporation work plan. Thank you for your consideration. Mark Lewinsky, 1st District, Hammond City Councilman.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Any further comment?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Kowinski.
I believe that Dover is in concert with much of what was just read and the city of Hammond as well. And some neighborhood associations will probably have public comment upon this work plan as well. Thank you. We're all moving in the same direction, I believe.
Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairwoman. Yeah, we got to have a vote on that.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Roll call vote, please, on sending a letter to IDEM regarding Kyle Chemical.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Galwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Yes.
Vines.
Let the record reflect 7.
I vote yes.
Thank you. Let the record reflect 8 in favor, 1 absent for the letter. Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
this is more of, I don't need to send any letters to anybody because Dean Button's here and Dave's here, and for the thousands of people that are watching on the computer, the Beach Street project started, and I have to admit, the Beach Street lighting project that I carried over from the previous councilman did start in January, and I just wanted to, since we're all in love tonight and everybody's giving accolades, I wanted to thank Dave for the advice and Dean for inviting me to the pre-construction meeting. I have a tendency to kind of like go off the rails a little bit, and I'm kind of anxious about getting stuff done, but I just want to thank both of you for keeping me focused on how that stuff works. But we don't need a letter sent because I can look at you both and would you tell Dean for me? Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Any other new and unfinished business? I was so excited that we didn't have any committee reports. I neglected to read the upcoming Community and Crime Watch Group meeting. So if there are no objections, I would like to do that at this time. Edison Community Watch will meet Wednesday, February 1st at Edison School, 6:30 p.m. Edison on the Road will meet at the Golden Manor Senior Apartments at the corner of 175th and Columbia on Friday, February 3rd at 1 p.m. Irving Community Watch will meet at Irving School. That is Friday, February 3rd, 9:15 a.m. Jefferson Crime Watch will meet Wednesday, January 25th at Jefferson School at 6:30 p.m. The Pulaski Park Neighborhood Association will meet Monday, January 30th, 6:30 p.m. at the American Legion on Goslin. The Whiting-Robertsdale Crime Watch will meet Thursday, February 9th at Calumet College at 6:30 p.m. For those of you watching, I urge all of you to go to the Community and Crime Watch Group meetings in your neighborhood. You will find out what's going on in your neighborhood and safety measures that you can take to protect your family and your neighborhood. Because community is not just about me, it's about us. Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is now closed. Moving on to public expression. Is Mr. Cal Bellamy still here? Okay. George Stoya.
George Stoya, Robertsdale. Really wasn't going to say anything, but after hearing that letter, call me paranoid. I live in the First District. That was a wild letter, from at least what I was gathering from the narrative in it. And what rendered me somewhat paranoid, somewhat, mind you, is the situations in Flint, East Chicago, and places like that. And the situation seemed to be that Councilman Kalwinski couldn't provide us a summary because of the inability to extract a summary or an analysis from the information in the form that it was presented. So we have a statement, a somewhat implied statement of risk, and I'm just asking Mark, are we at risk? I mean, can we count on IDEM for I mean, this is Northwest Indiana. We're talking about IDEM down in Indianapolis. We're talking about a Republican governor, and I know I shouldn't say those things because, oh, he's an honorable man, and I'm sure he is, but can we count on it? Can we count on IDEM doing something? Because they have been lax in the past. And it's not like, oh, they're gonna get right on it. So, how at risk, if you wouldn't mind when I sit down or some other way afterwards, from what you can tell thus far, absent an adequate analysis, can you kind of like provide a little more information on what the state of the risk is that we have right now? Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak who perhaps did not sign in? Public expression is now closed.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Who's the first to, oh, okay. Excuse me, I didn't hear that.
Motion to adjourn.
Alrighty, motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Rakos to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Have a good evening.